So in just 10 minutes, I'll show you my proven process for choosing the right niche that will position your creative agency for seven-figure growth without the risk, guesswork, or wasting years chasing dead-end markets. So here's the thing. Every 7 or 8 figure creative agency owner I've guided over a decade has picked a niche following this exact same process. Each time they found a profitable, sustainable market that accelerated their agency's growth. And that's exactly what I'm going to show you today. So you'll see how real agency owners found their breakthrough. And I'm not just going to hand you a checklist or theory. I'm going to walk you through this process step by step. So the first thing that's really important that I want to make sure that you walk away from is understanding that the reality and where most agency owners get stuck in this niche process is the fear that focusing your attention more is actually going to limit your possibility. And the reality is that that's couldn't be further from the truth. And I don't want you to jump into this thinking that you're going to have to get rid of all of your clients right now, that you pick a niche and that means that everything is going to change tomorrow. The reality is that life doesn't change that fast. It doesn't typically change that fast. And it's ultimately up to you of how you go about implementing it. And I've had ranges of clients that have gone through and just eliminated everyone out of their niche to people that slowly replaced people. But ultimately, the thing that is going to become simpler is that you're able to do things more repeatable with your clients. You're able to find them easier because you're able to speak to them better. And so you're able to just market, you're able to operationalize your business better. So you're able to create a more sustainable business model. And so the direction that you head from here is ultimately your choice. But I want to give you the step-by-step process that's going to allow for you to do so. So the first step here is I want you to find your zone of genius. The reality is that for each one of us, we have people that we enjoy, the people that we enjoy being around, work, and topics that we take interest in. And the reality in a creative business is that for so many creative people, the thing is that you're pouring a little bit of yourself into every project. And if it doesn't energize you, it doesn't excite you, it's going to be very difficult for you to get through what sometimes can be a lot of slog in business growth. And so you need to be able to have a place, a industry that you're able to commit to, that you're excited about. And as a client one time said to me, is that ultimately what we're looking for is the thing that's going to make your tummy smile. That excitement that you had when you first decided that you were going to set up your agency, that you were going to start your agency. And ultimately the thing I want you to be able to have from this is that excitement, that energy, that momentum. And as you start to be able to work solely within the area, your zone of genius that you truly enjoy, it's going to be a lot better. And so the way that I want you to go about this is I want you to just white sheet of paper, really simple. First, start with your past client list. Just write down what industry they're from, the work that they did, and then also start to explore what are the books that you would read, what are the articles that you tend to lean into, what are the things that just interest you outside of your existing client work, what are the things that make your tummy smile or poke your brain and make you excited. Then from there, I want you to start to do a little bit of process of elimination, if you will. So I want you to pick your lane so that you're able to take a little bit faster of an action. And I want you to trust your instinct. I want to trust your gut. I want you to start to be able to make substantial movement forward. And so the way that I want you to go through and filter the list that you took from that white sheet of paper that you ultimately had is, do you like them? I just want you to confirm and really feel, do you like them? If not, eliminate. Are you inspired by them, by the work that you would ultimately be doing with that specific industry? Yes or no? If maybe, that does not sound like the butterfly feeling. That does not sound like excitement. And then can you help them? Do you have the knowledge base, the information in order to be able to actually help this specific industry? If you don't, there are a few different options there really, but the reality is that you're better off in an industry that you have experience in. It's most often going to be an area that you already have experience in. And then the next piece is verifying with data. And so this is the piece that creates a lot of apprehension really is there going to be enough of them? Are they going to be able to afford me? And all of these questions that ultimately come up. And this is something that we're going to need to validate. And so can they pay you well? Is the market big enough? How much competition is there? Are you going to be able to stand out? Like all of those things that ultimately we need to think about. The first piece that I want you to think about here is the business going to be more relevant tomorrow than it is today? So what is that industry growth or compound annual growth rate? So just take to Google, take to online search and take a look at what is the growth metrics for that specific industry. Is it growing beyond inflation right now? If it's not, that's a bit of a problem. And you need to be able to make sure that you're not entering into newspapers as an example, right? That is a dying market. And it's very important to recognize that the market that you're going into, it needs to be more relevant tomorrow, because otherwise you're going to be in an uphill battle. Then the next piece is, how many businesses are there within the market that you are going to be serving, whether that be a national market or a global market, but how many businesses are there? Ultimately, the question that we want to know is there enough of them for you to be able to serve? There's an important caveat here, is that there can be too many of them as well as not enough of them. And so the reality is that I want you to be looking at the market and being able to see and determine, if I were to work with between 0.5 to 1% of the market, is that going to be enough people for me to have longevity within my business? The next piece is, what is the average revenue, allowing for us to determine, can they afford you? So within the average revenue of what that business is ultimately doing, if you take the average business and then determine what they should be spending working in marketing or working with an agency like yours, can they actually afford you with that base of business size? If the answer is no, that is a bit of a problem, right? You're not going to be able to actually charge them the fees that you need to in order to be profitable, which then ultimately creates a big blocker for you in the way that you would work with them. Once you have all of these details, so you've gone through, you've created a list of the industries that you're excited about, you've narrowed them down by taking a look at which ones you like and are inspired by and can ultimately help. So you should at this point have had maybe 3 industries. If you have more, I would do a little bit more self-reflection. And then you've gone through validating numbers with them to make sure that it ultimately really truly fits. And at this point, you should have 1, maybe 2 directions that you should be able to go. And I don't want you to make sure that it's so big that, the reality is that if I hit 0.00001% of this market, I can hit my number. That means it's too big. You're going to be swimming in way too big of a pond. It's a bit more of a red ocean. And I want you to be able to have a pond that you're able to swim in, that you're able to really, truly be able to figure out exactly who you're going after. Now, once you have figured out who these individuals are, what I want you to do is go talk to real world prospects, whether those are existing clients that you've had in the past, whether those people that you have within your network. I want you to go talk to them. Just understand, what is the life like for them, specifically their pain points, their decision-making criteria, the demand that they ultimately have, before you truly make a commitment and start to jump into the pool in the deep end, right? Head first. The reality is that you are going to only really start to run with this specific niche, with this direction, unless you feel comfortable. And so you want to make sure that what it is that you do, you understand how to speak about it, you understand how to talk to them about it. Is this something that they really care about? Is this something that they have a lot of apprehension about? Are they knowledgeable about your specific type of service and the need for your service? And so just have and be able to go in to this conversation with as much of the information as you possibly can. Then the reality is launch, learn, tweak as you grow. The reality is that if we tried to make everything perfect before we launch, you're gonna go too slowly and things are going to be imperfect. Frankly, I have yet in my life to make a perfect choice, having everything well thought out and completely thought out. I am a planner, I am a thinker, I am a person that likes to think about nuance. And the reality is that I have grown so much faster by starting, not by thinking about every single nuance and then try to actually start at that point. And so the reality is we now have a good list of people. We understand their pain points. We understand who they are. We know that there's enough of them. We know that they can afford us. We know that we can help them. And so at this point, we have enough information to start to launch into market and actually go to see exactly how well we can actually sell, find these people, market to them, and being able to actually learn truly within market. So the thing that I want you to now take is go through this checklist, and I want you to make sure that you have hit these criteria now that you're going through this entire process, that you are genuinely interested and have knowledge in this market, that you're willing to serve those clients for the long term, that the market is healthy and growing with enough paying clients that you're going to be able to grow the business to the size that you're looking for, that you have a unique angle, story, or direction that connects you with this specific industry, whether it be that you're focusing on hair salons when you used to be a hairstylist, that you used to be a doctor, you're considering going to med school, and so you work with general practitioners. So like, what exactly is the thing about you, about your experience, about your background that allows for you to be able to differentiate yourself in the market? And then go and validate that demand by talking with real world prospects. The reality is that you're going to learn a whole lot more actually talking to people, having interaction, having relationship and dialogue, than you're ever going to within your own head. So now that you know how to pick your niche, the foundation of your agency's growth, but it's not enough to have clarity if you're still struggling to bring on clients quickly and affordably. That's where most agencies ultimately end up getting stuck. So if you want to learn the single fastest, most cost-effective way to fill your niche with high-quality leads, check out this video where I break down the exact referral partner strategy that's generated millions of dollars for agencies worldwide, so you can stop waiting and start closing quality deals fast.